Hello, hello. Welcome to Her World Pow Wow. This is our second guest for this particular series. What an exciting time. We're coming to you from the Calm Purple Studios, right, Lian?
Yes, Charmaine. And with us, we have Charmaine Yee, who is the one introducing the episode. You forgot to introduce yourself, our co-host and member of Her World Tribe.
And with me, of course, is Lian, Her World editor. And it's so good to see you. If you are joining us on the video, thank you so much for following. And we had our very first guest, Sharina. And now we have our second guest who is here with us. She's joining us via Zoom. She's got such a story. It's amazing. And
she's a true hyphenate, a multi-hyphenate.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because today we are diving into what is a really exciting topic. And I really want to get this right. We're going to be talking about making a vocation switch at the peak of your career. A very ballsy thing to do, I'd say. And joining us right now, Dr. Jade Kua. Hello.
Hi there.
Jade.
How are you, Jade? How are things?
Good. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. I know it's quite of a hectic rush.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a pretty busy time of the year, but I'm really happy to make the time to share with you my experience, and maybe other people might be able to derive something from it, or
I think the most
learn something.
The most curious thing about you is, how would you describe your occupation?
Well, right now I'm wearing a few hats, and so I'm still a frontliner in a public hospital, and 2020 has been kind of a rough year for us because of the COVID pandemic. I'm also a professional life coach, and that gives me a lot of joy. I coach mainly for performance, so for that I help teams and leaders. But I also have clients who come to me for life coaching sessions for personal reasons. So relationships, to transform themselves, to get better, make a change in their lives. And I'm happy to be a catalyst for that change. But I feel like the biggest job that occupies my time is actually being a mom. So when you ask me what to describe my occupation, I'd probably say it's being a mother to many and a mentor to more.
That's actually, I actually think that's a great one. That's a fantastic way to describe yourself. A mother to many, a mother to what?
To many, and a mentor to more.
There we go. Yeah, that's a good one.
That.
That's a good one. But let's get into making that switch, making that career switch. I really think that a lot of us, definitely at any point in our lives, would have gone, okay, is this job for me? Do I want to branch out to do something else? When is the right time? I mean, I have so many questions for you. Like, how did you decide? Push-pull factors. So maybe you can take us through that journey of how you decided to. Oh, actually, wait. We need to ask her definition of a powwow woman first.
Oh, we are too excited. Wait.
Okay. I love it. All the questions are just coming out.
That's true. That's true. So before we get into it, making that career switch at the peak of your career, here, of course, powwow. What's your definition of a powwow woman?
Well, I love that word, actually. I mean, for me, powwow has always been, like the kind of word that you use when people are trying to strike a deal, communicate, have a conversation. And I feel like that's what it's a huge asset that many women have, that they're such great communicators. So to me, a powwow woman is somebody who doesn't just have it together for herself, but somebody who is willing to bring a community together and have that conversation. It's open.
That's interesting because that's exactly what we're trying to do here, and we're calling the podcast community the powwowers.
Really?
Yeah, everybody that follows it, everybody that believes in what we're saying here, and something that
we are powwowers too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks.
I think so.
Thanks for including me in this tribe.
Of course.
Yes, you are part of the tribe.
This is interesting because you. A little backstory. I'm not sure if we're going to end up including this in the edit, but Jade, we bumped into each other literally 2 days ago, randomly at Paragon, and the way I identified Jade was because she was wearing her collab she did with Ying the Label.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was this white and red gorgeous top. There she goes.
Yeah, it's the white version of this one. And it's a nice roomy top so that I can eat in it and I can dance in it.
And it features
and it features the hand painted hearts. So that's in my collaborators' like strength she does these hand-painted motifs, and usually they're flowers and birds. But for our collaboration, which is called All About Love, we did hand-painted hearts, and it's very much it's part of a stream of things that I'm putting out, which is what I like to call like mindful merchandise. So it's not just selling things for the sake of selling things, but each item actually means something to me, or speaks of an experience that I've been through. So for the All About Love collection, this was really all about 2020 and what the world was going through, and how mental wellness is so important in addition to physical wellness, which was on everyone's minds because, you know, they're worried about being, you know, the whole world being like ravaged by the COVID virus. But for me, I felt like mental and emotional wellness were just as important. So this was symbolic of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
And it's one of your many collaborations that you've got going on at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you about the collaboration I'm doing with my daughters.
Yeah,
It counts as a collaboration, but well, it's this book called Goodnight Marian, and Marian is actually the name of my youngest daughter. And anyone who has been to my place for a late dinner party or drinks or mahjong will know that the word Goodnight Marian is said several times in the same night because she won't go to bed. And we worked through this, and then we discovered that it's sometimes because she's afraid of certain things like the dark. And so when we wrote the book, I wrote it with her and with my two elder stepdaughters as well. We decided that we didn't want to just do a book about a typical children's book with like lots of illustrations and clutter up the whole space. But we wanted, in fact, to have a simple children's book with lots of blank space to give caregivers a chance to hold that space with the kids they're putting to bed and have a conversation. So you can read the whole book as if it's a children's book, just a story, or you could pause at the cues that are given to have a conversation about fear, about how you overcame that, about friendship, about being considerate to others, about showing appreciation, about dreams, about what you want in life. And so all those mindful conversations take place as part of the activities around the book. And so there's a lot of blank space there. Yeah, because space is important.
So I managed to get a little sneak peek about it, and I realized that it was, there is a lot of space on the right-hand side as well.
Yes. So on the right-hand side of the book, all the right-sided pages have themes, conversation themes. There's a lot of space for you to write your thoughts. So it shouldn't be too precious a book that you couldn't write in it. For you to journal, you can do it over and over again. You can even draw where words fail you. And I feel like this is so important because for a lot of, not just children, but grown-ups as well, sometimes we can't find the right words to express how we feel. But a simple drawing or something just to mark that experience can be helpful when you look back on that. When you look back on that page, you know, a week later, a month later, a year later. So it's meant to be sort of like a journal, a time capsule of sorts, if you will. And that's why we're very excited about it, me and my three daughters.
But any chance you have the book with you so we can take a look?
You know what? I do actually. I'm gonna have to go out to see it. So yes.
As she goes out to get it, I just realized I didn't press record on the other computer, but it's okay.
That's really cute.
That's you mean, Jade? That's really like, this has been one of those days. I think for perhaps you and me, like today I was rushing around like crazy, but this is like your life every day.
Even when I came to your home to have lunch, remember? It was like,
yes, exactly. I felt like I had to apologize and say this house is a home, so there are many things going on. And
how it's like
today. Look, there's a Christmas tree behind me.
Where are you at the moment?
Well, I'm setting up, preparing for a Christmas fair.
That's right.
And our little stall is right next to the Christmas tree. So that's my daughter Marian. She's here. Hi, Marian. And I'm now going to make my way back into the room, so it will be quieter.
Yeah, sure.
And then I will show you the book. Very, very excited actually to show this to you because it's evolved so much through the year. From when I first wrote it and conceptualized it to roping my daughters in, and it's just changed so much because I've changed, you know, all through 2020. I've evolved. I went to coaching school. I set up my businesses. My children have also gone through really big changes in their lives. Some of the older ones went to university. Everybody had to experience COVID in their own way. So because of all of that, actually, that's why I decided to remove some of the clutter from the book and allow for some space to have that important conversation. So this is what the book looks like.
Oh, cute.
Good
Marion
night,
is asking me to
Marion.
show you the book, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's see.
Okay.
So this is an example of a page in the book. And so let's see if I can switch my camera around.
So if
I
you are
notice.
listening to us, please watch the video when you can at herworld.com because we're getting a nice visual preview of
That's
Good Night
right.
Marion.
Also on Her World Singapore IGTV.
That's true.
So this is the book. It says Goodnight Marion, and that's a constellation of stars. And it features my dog Dylan, my best friend, who actually passed away earlier this year. And he was 18 years old. He lived a fantastic life, and we remember him well. So this is an example. This is just somewhere in the middle of the book where the text reads, "We walk to the living room. Look, our little kitten is all curled up. She's had a very good day with all sorts of adventures. If she sleeps well, tomorrow will be another wonderful day, I'm sure. Let's switch the ceiling lights off, shall we? Good night, cat." And then there's just a very light visual of the cat. But this is the important part. Because we talked about the cat and the adventures, the theme is adventure. And the question is, if you could choose your own adventure, what would it be? And so there's lines for you to record that. There's lots of space for you to draw. And there's a little cat that my daughter Marion drew. So she illustrated a lot of these little visuals that are inside the book.
Oh, look
And
at
I'll
the
just show you the chicken,
bunny.
and that's the bunny,
I
and that's a
love the bunny.
turtle.
Yeah, cute. Very nice.
And that's a pair of foxes. And this was the first drawing she ever drew on the iPad that I got for her. And it's a unicorn.
That's adorable.
And this is on the page about dreams.
How apt.
Yeah. So for those of you who are listening to the podcast without the visuals, this page reads dreams. And the question is, what do you dream your future could be like? And I thought that was something that would be quite important.
For children,
For children, yeah. And also I was thinking it might be interesting for the grown-ups who are reading it with them as well. So this is the back of the book, and it just sort of like basically explains a little bit about myself, and I guess it kind of answers the question that you asked. And it says, Dr. Jade Kua is a senior emergency medicine specialist, philanthropist, and life coach. As a mother to many and a mentor to more, she encourages them all to embrace life with curiosity and be unafraid of failure. She is most grateful for her children and stepchildren who graciously tolerate her undomestic approach to motherhood and have consequently learned to fend for themselves rather well. So that's what it is.
So she basically introduced herself there in the book. Thanks, Jade. But that, I think that's something great for us because I think that's a great way to talk about that switch that we've been talking about, that switch that you made with your career almost. Would you call it a switch or would you call it like a branch out? What would you say?
I would say that it's all in the space of wanting to reach out to people, and some may say it's a space of healing, but I think with my work in critical care, it's really been very physical. So people only come and see me in the emergency room if they are seriously ill or seriously injured, and I don't really see so much of I don't really see healthy people and help them in my job, unless it's mentoring or something like that. Yeah. And I discovered life coaching, and I discovered that there's lots of people who need help, who might feel unwell, but they're not physically unwell. They don't have a fever, but something is wrong and they want to change that. And it may be that they have some inertia. It may be that they want to start something, a business perhaps, a relationship perhaps, but they just don't know how, or they can't break a bad habit to move forward. They need some motivation. So all of these are areas in which I feel that would be a very exciting space to work with them in.
It's a very fulfilling space, you know. Jay, we had a chat about this, that you're on level 2 of the coaching. I'm on level 1, and I admire you for going for level 2 because that's a fair bit of commitment there, and it is a very fulfilling sort of space to be in, this coaching space. And when you had to make that decision, was that tough for you to sort of, add one more thing to the plate? Did that mean you had to take something away from the plate?
Yeah, it was definitely scary because, I'm over 40 and I wasn't sure if I would be able to be a student again, right? Plus I was still working frontline, plus COVID still happening and all that. So, just to do all that concurrently whilst making sure that my kids don't, hurt themselves.
Very real concern.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I could manage that. But, what I found about coaching school is that it's really a lot of inner work. I mean, sure, there's lots of assignments and things, essays to write. The schedule can be quite rigorous, because these are all certified programs. But it was a lot of inner work that I had to do that I was actually quite happy that I did it in the end. So it's made me not just a better coach, but a better mom, a better doctor, a better friend. I like to say I'm a better friend. And so I don't regret it.
Yeah.
But trying to decide if I should do it at that point, it was definitely a very scary point. I was like, what if I make a mistake? What if I sink all this money into school and I don't get anything out of it? What if I don't gain anything but lose everything? Like my mind. For one,
so was there a point where you like, screw it, let's do it?
Yeah, I had a very open conversation with the children, with my bosses at work as well. I was, considering going through a transition of moving from a pediatric hospital into a general hospital to work with adults as well. So I spoke with both sides and also my husband, and I involved the children as well about this new change, because it wasn't just about going to school. It was about starting a whole career in life coaching. It was about staying at home more and doing my work from home, because I coach via Zoom because of the pandemic and the distancing. It was about being with colleagues who were very supportive of this as well, and I wanted to make sure that I could support them too. So, these were really big conversations that I had. And so it wasn't a singular moment in which I was like, screw it, I'm going to do this. It was more like, it was very intentional. I had to set up all these meetings with people, make sure that I wasn't hurting anybody's feelings, make sure that people didn't feel like I was, it's really hard because there was a lot of pull factors rather than push factors. And I did want to consider people's feelings as I was doing this as well. But like I said, once I started doing it, I didn't really look back. So I didn't really go like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should have considered the other fork in the road. Maybe I should have done something easier. Maybe I should have done something less stressful. Who did I think I was? Like, those I feel are potentially these rabbit holes that you can go down, and you can get quite lost and obsessed in those things, because you never really know. You never really know what would have happened if you hadn't chosen this path, you chosen that other path, if you had, this happens all the time, right? With relationships as well.
Yeah.
So, but if you keep looking back, looking back and trying to figure out what you could have done differently, sometimes it can be a real time waster, to be honest. And I ain't got time to waste. I don't need to waste. So I'm always moving forward. I'm very thankful for people who support me, who buoy me up, and really just allow me to develop and move forward. And I want to do it for other people as well.
So I'm very curious about, when you mentioned that there are moments where you think, who do I think I am? Right? Do you still have them?
No, I think occasionally when the day stacks up a little bit, and I have to be in like two places at once, and I worry about disappointing people, or about being late, or that people have certain expectations. I worry that I'm letting the team down. I think that at those points sometimes I veer towards, gosh, who did I think I was that I could do all this at the same time today together. Maybe I should step down as a leader in certain teams, because I lead a few teams right now. And they're really big teams. They're teams that sit with MOH, that are affiliated with MHA and everything. And I kind of feel like sometimes maybe I've bitten off too much. But but then I find it helps to actually talk to the teams. For example, I'll be like, wow, I'm having a really rough day because blah, 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 blah. And then they'd be like, oh, you know what? Don't worry. We got this part and you can do that part. And the thing that you suggested last time, that's gone really well. So, I feel like really it's very collaborative. I don't ever feel like I'm leading my teams in the sense of I'm telling them what to do. I'm just sort of like, sure. I mean, I'm telling them in the terms of strategy and stuff. But otherwise, we're supporting one another. And that's just so wonderful. I feel like it's super collaborative. And days like that, I feel so lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky. Like what more can I ask for?
Oh, a good team is priceless. I hear you.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for people who are at that crossroads, right? And they're thinking, should I make that switch? Not sure if I should do it. What sort of words would you say to them?
Have the powwow. Have the conversation with people around you who matter, with the people who are involved. I think often it's quite difficult. It's a very huge decision to make, and when you feel like you have to do it all on your own, then sometimes you wonder, wow, but what if this person feels that? What if that? You can't change external circumstances. You can't accurately predict what people are going to think, are going to say, and if they're going to consistently feel and say those things. You can only really change yourself. So what I feel though is that it's good to have those conversations with people so you can broaden your perspective, so you can understand, because maybe they've got other plans too, and maybe there are other ways in which you can collaborate, even if going down one path means you have to say goodbye to something else, which is what happened in my case, right? But we're still collaborating, we're still meeting, we're still talking, so that's wonderful.
So you mentioned also that you were scared, right? What were you most scared about? What was
that's an awfully good question.
Yeah.
What was I most scared about? I think I was most scared that I would let people down. Yeah. I was most scared that I would fail at my jobs, and sort of, that I would let people down. My sense of responsibility was like, I feel like it was like quite strong, quite high at the moment. I felt like if people were disappointed, just being disappointed, we're not talking about like dropping the ball on KPIs, or whatever. It's just people's feelings towards me. I felt like that was something that I cherish the trust they have in me, and I was worried that I would let them down. And then obviously, in this period where we're all hurtling towards a recession, I think you worry also about the financial aspect of things. And what if you sink your resources into entrepreneurship and it doesn't pan out? What if you waste time? What if you waste your youth? So these are all things that
very real,
I would say,
very real.
these are real frightening thoughts for for an over 40-year-old who's like trying to jump into something.
I don't think it's just for an over 40-year-old person, but really you could be in your early 20s and still feel those fears.
This is true too. Yeah.
The unknown, right? The unknown is and there's no better way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how do you it's like you've taken us on this journey of how you got to this point, but now that you're at this point, how does it feel for you right now?
Oh gosh, I mean, it feels great. I feel like
yes, what we want to hear.
I feel very, very fortunate to be able to be where I can sort of like pause, look around, admire the view, and then decide, and I might climb further up the mountain. I might decide to ski down a little bit. I might take a walk around the same, altitude, but I have choice. I have choice because I've gotten here. Whereas if I stayed, at the bottom, then I might still be happy. I probably would be. I'm the kind of person that would be happy anyway. But I wouldn't have the choices that I have now. I wouldn't have the perspective that I have now. And I feel like that because of my perspective and my experience, I've become like a stronger person, a better mom, and that was really one of the things that bothered me the most. Like, what if I fail my family? What if I fail my kids? What if my kids look at me and go, "Gosh, Mom, what did you do?" So for me to be able to say right now that I'm proud of the decisions that I made, I'm glad I made them, and I think my kids are also have something to learn. I think they can look at me and they go, "Hey, mom,
Oh, for sure.
this was great. This was so good that you did this. And, we want to explore these things with you as well." So that's why, I talk to my kids all the time about like coaching, about this book that I'm doing together with them. They're very, very much involved in all of this and all of my work. So, yeah.
It sounds very exciting. And of course, 2020 has not been ideal for a lot of people. So what's next for you? Because you always make, the most out of a situation, and you always look at the positives. What's lined up for you? You've always got a next exciting project. So what's next for Jade?
Well, this book is mainly about sleep and introducing the concept of having mindful conversations with the family. So I'm very excited that I've got other books in the pipeline. I'm very, very grateful that my publisher, believes in the work that I'm trying to put out. The first book that I'm doing, which is Goodnight Marian, mainly introduces the idea of holding space and having open conversations with people, like your children. So books number 2 and number 3 are going to be about themes that are typically very, very difficult to discuss with family, especially young children about. And those themes are death and dementia.
I'm intrigued. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I think it will open up conversations for families, parents, kids, and it makes such topics which are, I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but typically taboo. To even be brought up, but it's going to be a gateway to open up all these conversations
and to normalize these taboos.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Is that the plan for 2021?
That is the plan for 2021. You heard it here first on Pow Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. That sounds great.
I started off having this Her World Pow Wow idea as sort of an altruistic thing where, let's have this group of women together sharing, being inspired by one another. And, when I listen to amazing women like yourself, Jade, and our other guest speakers, and even Charmaine herself, it's like, you know what? I feel a bit selfish. Because I feel like, wow, because every time I hear you guys speak, I feel inspired and I always have goosebumps. And I'm like, yeah, like altruistic, sure, but I feel I'm benefiting. So thank you.
It's a great space. So we hope that you are inspired by everything Jade has said for all our guests that we have here on Pow Wow. So again, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can also watch the video on Her World's IGTV, Her World Singapore on IG, and on the website herworld.com.
That's right.
And before we let you go, Jade, because you are a very Pow Wow busy lady and you've got so much to do, before we let you go, just to wrap up, is there a quote that has inspired you recently, or do you have a quote that you live by? Is that Marian?
Yes, this is Marian of Goodnight Marian fame.
Your co-author.
Does she have a quote that she lives by?
You know what? I'm actually going to tell you about this book that my friend Paige had bought for Marian when she was born. It was really interesting. It was a big book that you're supposed to read to your children, and it's by Dr. Seuss. And it's called All the Places You'll Go. And when I read it to her, I kept feeling like those words were meant for me.
Oh, I love that.
And especially, there's a whole build up about the challenges you can have in life and all that.
Yeah.
But that if you dare to try, then the places you'll go. And that's really something that I feel is very representative of the space that I'm in right now.
And exactly.
Thank you. I love that.
I feel like that summed up our entire conversation.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave this studio and do things and go to the places I can't imagine going.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a mic drop moment right there.
Even though this mic is very steady.
It's stuck to the table, but but you get the idea. Thanks so much for your time, Jade, and for being with us. And wow, what an exciting year! I'm excited for you already.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm very honored to have you, Jade.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.